Hello everyone and welcome to another Community Support Services virtual balanced fitness video. This video is going to be focusing on your upper body, so your arms, shoulders, and back for building strength using weights. We've had a request for this video, so we thought we would put it together, and then there's another option for you to do with your strength. So this video would be best suited for someone who has potentially had experience using weights before, or someone who is a beginner and wants to try something new. We would suggest that if you have really painful shoulders or arthritis in your shoulders, elbows, or hands, that you try a different video that we have. So we have two other strength videos. One is using stretchy bands and the other is using small inflatable balls. And both of those videos are good options for building strength. They're a little bit more gentle, but still really great options if you do have trouble with your shoulders or other joints of your upper extremities. So with that being said, when we do this video, we will get started. But first, before we start, I'm going to go through a few basics or some fundamentals of using weights for building strength, just to provide some background information before getting started. For this video, we would recommend weights for the exercises. If you don't have weights but you still want to try this video, if you have soup cans in your cupboard or bottles of water, you could use a water bottle like this, just something that you can get a good grip on. That will also work, and that's a good place to start. If you're new to weight training and you don't have weights, that's a good place to start, build your strength up, and if you do enjoy it or you're finding benefits, then you could look at purchasing weights. I have 5-pound dumbbells with me today, but you could use 1-pound dumbbells or anywhere, whatever you're comfortable with. So we will go through before we start how to figure out what weight is best. But to begin with, weights, water bottles, soup cans, something to lift. If you do want to do this video, you don't have any of those things, you can still do that. It will be more range of motion and just moving those joints. So that's another option as well. So have your weights. We're going to do these exercises seated. If you try them seated and you're finding that you want more of a challenge, you could try them standing as well. But for this video, I will be seated. I have a chair with arms, but I would recommend a chair without arms if possible. And I'll explain why as we go through when there's a few exercises we do. So if you have a chair without arms, that would be preferred. I also have my bottle of water to grab a drink if I need one, and make sure you're wearing comfortable clothing. So that's what we need to get started. I will talk a little bit about weight training before we move on and actually get the video started. So to start with, in terms of picking weights, I mentioned before, soup cans, water bottles are a good starting place if you've never done weight training before. If you do have dumbbells or you have a certain set of weights, what we're looking for is a weight that's heavy enough that you can do between 8 to 12 repetitions. So a repetition is one complete movement for that exercise. So this is what's called a biceps curl, and going all the way up and then all the way down is considered one repetition. So you want to pick a weight where you can do between 8 to 12 repetitions. So up and lowered, and finding that a little bit challenging. So you're going to want to feel like your muscles are working, but not to the point of it being extremely painful. If you're finding that it's comfortable and not necessarily difficult or challenging for you, then perhaps you want to find a weight that's a little bit heavier. When you're looking at making the exercises more difficult, if you've done this a few times and you're finding it's too easy, try increasing the heaviness of the weight. So sometimes you can take, if you have 2-pound weights and you're finding that's too easy, you could put two 2-pound weights in one hand and then do each arm one at a time. So another thing that you can do if you've done this video before is to give yourself 2 weeks, give or take a few days, just to get yourself up to a level where you find it's easy. If you go through a period where you're doing it a few times, you're not getting challenged, that's when you want to move up to the next weight level. If you're still finding you're working, you still feel muscles working and some soreness, then you're good. You don't need to move up. So in terms of making it more challenging for yourself, I mentioned before you can make the weight heavier. So if you're at 3 pounds, you can try 5 pounds, 4 or 5 pounds, just making the weight heavier. If you do that, continue with the same number. If you're doing 10 repetitions and you change the weight, continue to do 10 repetitions or perhaps drop down to 8. Don't try and do more repetitions with a higher weight all at once. So that gives us our options. So we have a few options for making exercises more challenging with weights. One option, like I mentioned, is to increase the actual weight you're lifting. The other option is to increase the number of times that you're doing the exercise. So that could be increasing the number of repetitions. So if you're doing 8 repetitions, you could bring it up to 10 and see how that feels. Or alternatively, you can do what we call sets. So you could do more than one set. So a set is a group of exercises. So for our purposes today, we have 11 different exercises we will go through. So once we go through all 11, that will be one set. If you're finding that that's not enough and you don't have higher weights or you don't want to do a higher weight, then that's when we recommend going and doing a second set. So that would be repeating the same exercises, the same number of repetitions, but doing it 2 times through. If that's a little bit too difficult, then I would back down and I would increase your repetitions from perhaps 10 to 12 of each exercise, but only do it once. So there are a few different ways of making it more difficult. And so those are different options that you can take as you do more weight training. So in terms of holding the actual weight, you don't want to be gripping it. So right now I'm holding it, my fingers are loose, and I'm holding it in my hand. You don't want to be squeezing the weight too tightly, so you're adding strain to the joints of your wrist and your fingers. And right now, I don't know if you can tell, but my knuckles are a little bit white. That we don't want, because that can lead to injury of the joints of your hand and wrist. You want just to be holding it. So take a look now if you're holding your weight, that your fingers are nice and loose and it's just gently sitting in your hand. So that's one thing. Another thing when we're lifting weights is as with any exercise, is you want to make sure that you're breathing, you're not holding your breath. So one way to remember to breathe is to exhale on the hardest part. So again, doing a biceps curl, you're at the bottom here. You're going to lift up to the top and then relax back down nice and slow. The hardest part typically is the contraction, so the lifting up. So when you're doing exercise like this, you would breathe out and then breathe in on the lowering. So you breathe out and breathe in. So that's one way that you can make sure that you are not holding your breath. And I will prompt throughout this video to make sure that you are breathing. So when you're doing weight training and any sort of training, so this goes beyond just with the dumbbells, but it could be with our standing strength video, the ball video, or the band video. What we recommend is anytime you're putting a load on your muscles or making changes to your muscles, building strength, is to have a rest period. So it's recommended to rest those muscles for 48 hours from when you last did your exercise to the next time you do it, to allow time for those muscles to repair themselves. As you're building strength, there is some muscle damage that occurs, and then it builds back up stronger. So you need to give it that time to repair itself so you don't overwork your muscles and potentially cause injury. So you want to make sure that you're resting. So if you do this video today, give yourself 2 days before you do it again. So it wouldn't be, right now it's in the afternoon on a Wednesday, so you would not do it again until the afternoon of Friday. So finally, when you are doing the exercises that we're doing in this video, you do not want to experience pain in your joints. So when you're doing these exercises, you're working your muscles. You might feel a little bit of muscle soreness, but you want that in what's called the muscle belly. So for your biceps muscle, for example, it goes from your shoulder to your elbow. The muscle belly is this part right here. So it's the part that gets bigger when you bring your hand towards your shoulder. So you'll feel a little bit of muscle soreness or fatigue in that part of your muscle. If you feel pain in either of your joints, and that goes for all of our different exercises, if you feel joint pain, that's what we want to avoid. So if you are feeling pain, then perhaps just take a rest during that exercise, try another exercise, and if it's okay then you can continue. If you're finding that you have joint pain, and not just muscle pain, but joint pain during this video, I would recommend trying one of our other videos, the ball video or the band video, to build strength in your upper extremities. In terms of recovery, I mentioned the 48-hour period. After exercise, no matter what kind of exercise it is, we would recommend making sure you are able to rehydrate, so drinking fluids, because as you sweat, you do lose fluids in your body. And the other piece would be re-energizing with food. So having a snack or something like that after you exercise to make sure that you're able to refuel and that your muscles can build up from all the work that you did. If you have specific recommendations from a healthcare provider, follow those. Again, another piece that we have mentioned before, but if you have done Balanced Fitness videos in person with us, then you will have completed the physical activity readiness questionnaire. If that is something that you have not completed, we have included a link to those forms, and it's a way to assess whether or not you should be speaking with a healthcare provider prior to starting exercise. So with that said, we can get ourselves started. So again, I will be seated for this whole exercise video. If you feel like you're more comfortable standing, please do so. I'm going to just grab a quick drink and then we'll get started. Perfect. So the way I have broken this video up is I have broken it up into 2 separate parts. Our first set of the video will be what I would consider the more basic exercises. So these are good for people who haven't done weight training before, are beginners, or just getting back into it. The second part, which I will let you know when we start the second part, are videos that are a little bit more challenging. And then these videos will be, or these exercises will be something that you can try with the weights. If it's something that doesn't feel available to you to do it with the weights, I would encourage you to try doing the second part of the video with just your arms, and work on range of motion. So maintaining that motion in your shoulders, elbows, and hands. And then again, if that just doesn't feel right for you, then you can stick it out and we will do our cool down. So we'll do this similar to our other videos with a warm up, exercises, and a cool down, making sure our muscles are nice and warm before we get started. Okay, so with that said, we'll get going. And then if you do have any questions while we're doing these videos, feel free to contact us at Community Support Services and I can speak with you more. Okay, so we will get started. So we'll start with just moving our legs. And right now we're just going to move our legs, and you can swing your arms and get them a little warm. It might feel silly to be doing a little march on the spot with your legs when we're doing an arm workout, but it's a good way to get the blood flowing and get your muscles and joints all worked up. So while you're doing this, swing your arms. If you have arms on your chair like me, try not to elbow them in the side. But if you're lucky enough to have a chair without arms, then it's not an issue. We'll go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're going to continue lifting our feet, this time on our toes. So I know in this video you can't see my feet, but just lift up on your toes. And for a video like this, we are trying to do about a 5-minute warm-up, 5 to 10. If you're not feeling warm when we're moving on to the weight portion, pause the video and do a little bit more moving to make sure you're nice and warm. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. We're going to keep this up, but this time we're going to lift with our heels. So again, lifting up, keeping those arms swinging. Hopefully you're feeling warm. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so you keep your legs still. We're going to now do some arm circles. So we're going to start nice and slow in one direction. So we're going to trace about the size of a golf ball or a tennis ball. Nice and slow. And we're going to get a little bit bigger, the size of a baseball or a grapefruit. We'll get a little bit bigger, the size of a side plate. We can get a little bit bigger, the size of a dinner plate. Or supper, depends on how you call it, dinner or supper. We'll go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll reverse direction. We're going to start large again. So the size of a dinner plate. Now we'll go a little bit smaller, size of a side plate. And again, smaller, baseball, grapefruit, large orange. Then we'll get a little bit smaller, tennis ball, and then back to golf ball. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. You can shake your arms out if they're tired. Now we'll do our next warm-up. So you can bring your arms back out to your sides about shoulder height. Again, I didn't say this for the last video, but if this is too much, you can lower them down, whatever's comfortable. But bring them up. We're going to cross in front, right arm over left, out, and then left arm over right, out. And if this is just a little bit much for you, just do what you can. So if you're not able to go all the way up, you can do it lower, cross in front, and then reverse. And if you can't bring them all the way in front of you, then just bring them where you can. We're going to go right over top, left, right, left, 4 more, right, left, 2 more, right, and left. Excellent. So I'm feeling my arms already, so hopefully you are as well. And now we're going to do some wrist circles. So whichever direction we'll reverse in a moment, but whatever direction you're moving in. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll reverse direction. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll bend up and down and up and down, up and down, up and down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. So if you're feeling ready to go, we will get started. So we will first do side arm raises. So the way we're going to do this is you can bring your weights down beside you. If you're sitting on a chair, move forward so you're at the edge and keep your feet planted and flat on the ground. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift up to about shoulder height. So you can see in the video it's about shoulder height, and then down. If this is too much for you to do both arms at once, you can lift one arm and then the other. So we're going to do 10 repetitions, and we're going to do them nice and slow. If you go too fast and use your momentum or moving your body, arching your back, that means that the weights you have are too heavy. So we're going to go nice, slow, and controlled. So we'll go up, 2, 3, hold, down, 2, 3, hold, up and down, up and down. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, and 10. Excellent. So when we're doing weight video or weight training, usually you want to rest for about a minute in between, 30 seconds to a minute, so that you're not overworking your muscles too much. So we'll just take a little break. Perfect. So our next exercise will be biceps curls. When you do biceps curls, you want to glue your elbows to your rib cage. So both sides will be glued to your rib cage. Can't really fit a hand in between there. So try your best to think about keeping them glued, almost like you're holding something under your arm there. And then we'll get started. So for a biceps curl, you're going to start from straight out. You don't want to lock your elbow, but just keep it nice and gentle bend, nice and straight. You're lifting the weight up as high as you can make it, and then back down. So this is one exercise where it's beneficial to have a chair with no arms. So again, glued together, we'll lift up, hold, down, up, hold, down. 8, 7, 6. Great work. Don't forget to breathe. So breathing out, 5, hold, and 4, hold, and 3, hold, and 2, hold, and 1. Excellent. Hold. So the other thing that I forgot to mention, just while we're letting our muscles relax, is some exercises you might find more difficult than others. So typically the biceps exercise, so this one right here, is an exercise that might be easier than another exercise that we do. So in that case, if you have more than one set of weights, perhaps the 5 pounds or a different set might work better for some exercises, whereas a lighter weight or a heavier weight might be better for a different exercise. So you can switch between what feels comfortable. So this next exercise will be called a shoulder shrug. So for this exercise, you're going to hold your weights down beside you. And if you want to turn them in or turn them so that your palm is facing behind you, that's how we're going to hold the weights. Again, remember, you're not gripping them really tight, you're just holding them nice and gently. You're going to bring your shoulders up to your ears and relax them down. Up to your ears, relax them down. So shrug up, hold, relax. 4, relax. 5, relax. 6, relax. 7, relax. 8, relax. 9, relax. Last one, 10, and relax. Great work. So our next exercise is for our triceps. So that's on the back of your arm. And with this exercise, it will be tricky if you have a chair with arms. It will be a little bit tricky. So if you have a chair without arms, that's ideal. If not, I'm going to turn myself sideways so you can see what I'm doing. Be mindful if you are doing this on a chair with arms that you don't hit the arm of the chair and pinch your fingers. So for the purposes of this video though, I will be turning sideways so you can see what I'm doing. So for this video, we're going to do only one at a time. So you can put one weight to the side. And we're going to lean forward. So when you lean forward, again, you're going to lean about 45 degrees. So right now we're at 90 degrees. We're going to move about half of that, reaching forward. And you're going to take your arm, I'll do it without the weight first. You're going to lift it up so it's about parallel with the floor. And when you're doing this, you're going to hold the weight in your hand. And for this exercise, you're going to extend back. So when you're doing this exercise, you're trying to keep your shoulders still and only move from the elbow. So we'll go 1, hold, in, 2, hold, in, 3, hold, in, 4, and in, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Excellent. So now you can switch sides. So we're going to do the exact same thing. So leaning yourself forward on the chair, back straight. You're going to lift your arm up so between your shoulder and your elbow is about parallel with the ground, keeping your shoulder relaxed away from your ear, and extend at the elbow, just like so. So we'll count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 more, well, technically 3 more. 8, 9, last one, 10. Excellent. Okay, so the last exercise of part 1 is going to be similar to the very first one we did, but we're going to be lifting forward. So this is another one where you might want to switch to a lighter weight, but you're going to sit up tall, have your weights down at your sides again. So down at your side, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be lifting up, and as you lift up, you're going to turn the weight so it's about shoulder height, not anywhere higher. It could be lower, so whatever height you can do, but shoulder height, palm facing down. And we will do 10 of those. All right. So 1, 2. So in this exercise, 3. The hard part, all of it might feel hard, but the part where you're going to exhale is going to be on the lift. So this will be 5. Breathe out and in. 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, and last one, 10. Excellent. So that was our level 1. So that's something that is a really great 5 exercises. If you want more, we'll do a part 2 with exercises that are a little bit more complex. So what that means is you might be moving more than just one muscle at a time, or the movement might go through what's called different planes of motion. So it's just a little bit more complex exercises, so you can try these ones as well. If you don't want to do these ones with weights, feel free to do them with just your arms and your body weight. And then we will do our cool down at the end. Okay, so for our next exercises, we're going to do what's called an upright row. So if you have shoulder problems, sit this one out, I would recommend, but you're going to bring the weights down again to your sides, sitting up tall, and you're going to lift them up so they're just about at your collarbone or at your shoulder level, and down. If you're finding this a little bit much to do with the weights, what you could do is you could hold each end of the weight, and you have to bring your legs a little bit wider, but then you could lift using just the one. So we will get started. So we'll lift up and lower and up and lower. So if you find yourself going up and down and up and down, up and lower, we want to go at a slow pace to really make it so your muscles are working hard. So I think we've done about 6, so we'll do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. So you can give your arms a little shake, little wrist circles if you need it. So our next exercise is going to be what's called an overhead press. So if you feel like you don't have the same level of comfort holding on to the weights, perhaps sit this one out as we're lifting up and overhead. So you don't want to accidentally hit yourself in the head with a weight. So you could just do this with just body weight. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the weights, we're going to lift them up and down, and up, and down. So I think my weights are disappearing just slightly when I lift them up. So while you just want to bring your belly button towards your spine, so engaging your core, so that you're lifting just with your arm muscles. You're not pushing your belly out or doing anything to hurt your back. I think that was 6. So we'll do 4 more. 5, 4. I guess we're doing a couple extra. 3. We'll just do 1 more. Last one. And lower. Excellent. Great. So this next exercise is what we call a bent forward row. So again, if you have a chair without arms, that's a benefit. So I'm going to turn sideways for this video, but you can keep yourself facing forward. And what you're doing is essentially, we're going to lift up like we're rowing. It doesn't really feel like a row, but there's a video that we do something similar with the exercise bands. But what you're doing is you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together, and you're trying to lift the weight up towards your shoulder, but you're pulling back at the same time. Almost like you're trying to start a snowmobile, lawnmower, snowblower. Hopefully we don't need that anymore. So we've done about 3 or 4. If you started, great. If not, we'll keep going. We'll do about 6 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now I'm going to put this weight down, and we'll do the other side. So what we're doing is we're bent again at 45 degrees, similar to the other exercise we did. You're lifting up and down, and think about squeezing your shoulder blades together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're almost there, and 10. And relax. Okay, so we have a couple more videos, or more exercises, excuse me. So this next one is what would be called a compound movement or complex movement. So it's going to be called a diagonal side raise. We're going to do this in 2 different directions. So we will do probably only 5 of these. If you're finding that you want to do a full 10, just pause the video and then continue there. But we'll do 5 for the video. So you're going to start first. We're going to start low and out. So just with the weight in your hand, arm maybe a foot away from your body and a little bit behind you. And then you're going to reach up and diagonally. So you're going across your body and then back down. So if you have shoulder issues, this one might not be comfortable for you. 2, 3. So again, you want to feel it in your muscle belly. So you might feel it in your shoulder muscle. If you feel it more in the joint, last one, then don't do this one. Excellent. We'll switch to the other side. So again, starting out a little bit behind you. and then up and diagonally. 2. Again, don't forget to breathe. 3. 2 more. 4. And 5. Excellent. So we're going to do the same exercise, but instead of crossing in front, we're going to cross out to the side. So you can start with the weight in your lap or over on your opposite side. So I have the weight in my left hand, over to the right side. We're lifting up and out and down. So again, you don't want to have to use momentum to get yourself up or twisting of your spine. If you do need to do that, I would recommend a lighter weight or no weight at all. So we'll go up. 1, 2, 3. Again, we're only going to do 5 of these. 4 and 5. Excellent. We'll switch sides. All right, when you're ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Excellent. So our very last exercise for this video is going to be called side arm raises. If you've done one similar, so we did this earlier, this one's a little bit more, we're doing more of that range of motion. So we're going to go from straight arm down at your sides. You can turn your palms so they face forward, lifting up past your shoulders and overhead. So with this particular exercise, you want to make sure that you're not using momentum to get you up there. You don't want to hurt yourself, or arching your back forwards or backwards so that you're able to get that range of motion. We don't want that. So if you're finding that it's a challenge for you, ditch the weights. Just bring your arms up. Almost lost my weight there. Up overhead and back down, and up overhead without the weight. If you do want to try it with the weights, just be careful. Again, we're going to do 5 of these. If you want to do more, again, you can pause it and do the full 10. So up and down. And when you do this, again, you want to pull your belly button to your spine to help protect your back. We'll do 3 more. Again, nice and slow. 2 more. And last one, up and overhead. And nice and slow, lower. Great work, everyone, even though I can't see you. So now we're going to do our quick cool down. So we'll start with our head, just to make sure that we stretch out our neck. You can turn your head to look over your left shoulder, and then over your right shoulder. Over your left, over your right. We'll do this 2 more times. And 1 more. Now you can bring your chin down towards your chest, up to one shoulder, down to your chest, up to the other shoulder. We'll do this 1 more time each direction. Excellent. You can bring your head forwards. We'll do little arm circles or shoulder shrug circles. You're gonna go back, up, forward, and down. We'll go 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll reverse direction, so forward, up, back, and down. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Now we're going to do, we've talked about this if you've been to the other classes in person, a cat-cow, it's like yoga, seated, but we're going to tuck your chin and pull your shoulders forward like you're spreading your shoulder blades around to the edges. And then you're going to untuck your chin, bring your shoulder blades together, and look up to the sky. We'll bend in, curving your shoulders, and then open up, look to the sky. We'll do this a couple more times at your own pace. I'm going to do 3 more. 2, and 1. Great work. So now you take your left arm, you can give yourself a hug. So bringing your left hand onto your right shoulder blade, relaxing your left shoulder from your ear. Take your right hand onto your left elbow. Gently press to get a stretch in your shoulder. So you may feel soreness tomorrow after you do the exercises. If you do, that's okay. If you're finding it's too much and you feel like you aren't able to do things tomorrow, then perhaps finding a lighter weight to start with when you do the video again. Or now you can extend your arm out and bring your hand down across to your wrist. Or don't do as many repetitions. So we did basically 10 repetitions for every exercise, except for the few near the end where we only did 5. If you're finding that 10 maybe put you a little bit over the edge, found it a little bit too painful, we'll switch sides. So take your right hand, cover yourself, give yourself a pat on the back, take your left hand on your right shoulder. So if you're finding that 10 repetitions was perhaps too much, feel free to do fewer. So perhaps next time try 8 repetitions, and when I do 10 in the video, then take that little extra rest period. Try doing fewer. If you're finding that that's still painful or you're not feeling comfortable the next day, so again, we'll straighten that elbow. Then try one of our other videos with the balls and bands. And don't forget to breathe while you're stretching as well. If your heart rate's up a little bit, breathing nice and slow can help get it back to your resting heart rate. Great. So now we're going to take your fingers. You're going to interlace them in front of you. Turn your palms out so they're facing away from you and stretch your arms out straight. You can start low if that's not too painful. Then you can gently lift them up until you feel a nice stretch in the back of your body. You'll probably also feel a stretch in the palms of your hands or your wrists. Excellent. So you can let those go. We're going to lace your fingers behind you. And then I'm going to stand up even though my head gets cut off, but you can bring your hands behind you and lift them up slowly towards the sky. If lifting them or lacing them behind you does not work for you, then you can bring your hands back and hold on to the back of the chair. We're going to lean forwards. So I'm going to lace my fingers and lift them up behind me. So you're pulling your shoulder blades together. And again, don't forget to breathe. Great work. So we'll relax those down. You can take your one arm out in front of you, about shoulder height. Take your opposite hand and just gently pull your fingers back. Excellent. And then we will flip it around, so bending your wrist down, gently pulling your fingers back towards you for a stretch in the back of the wrist. Perfect. So then you bring your other arm out in front of you. Bending your wrist will go up first, so lifting your wrist up, gently pulling back at your fingers. Perfect. And then we're going to bend our wrist down and you can gently pull back towards your body. Not the point of pain if you have any issues with your hands, arthritis, anything like that. Just be gentle on your hands. Excellent. So that concludes our video. We'll just finish with one last deep breath in. Deep breath out. Perfect. So thank you for joining me for our weights video. You can try one of our other videos that we have available as well. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at Community Support Services. And otherwise, enjoy your video. Thanks, everyone.